Welcome. It's your man, God Dotson. We are back. Typically the Thursday show, we're doing it on Wednesday. Of course, you know what tomorrow is. Happy Halloween to those that do the trick or treating and costume parties and stuff. Friday, it may not be doing a KBK show. We'll see if I get enough material. Of course, you know I kind of give you the product. But we are here. How you doing, Teresa, Miss Murphy? How you doing? We'll do our weekly preview that we typically do on Thursday, and in addition with that, can I give you my picks in winners for games, but I also want to kind of look at each of these teams and each of these games and kind of give my own like mid-season report. Are they meeting what I kind of predicted? Are they performing above expectations or below expectations or right around where I thought they would be? And I'm just going to kind of follow up with some of the stuff I put out in the preseason. If you missed that, hey, it's somewhere on the channel. Go find it. How you doing, beautiful? So let's start with tomorrow's game, the Thursday game. You have the Houston Texans going on the road to play the New York Jets. Of course, I was talking about yesterday how the Texans have kind of slipped in their level of play from the start of the season, still winning football, but it's not been at the same level. With all that being said, I do have them beating the Jets on the road. I think the Jets are a team that is in complete disarray and have been in disarray the entire season, for firing the head coach, reassigning the offensive coordinator, the issues Aaron Rodgers and his offense has had to produce points, the sudden slippage of the defense, which is not playing at the level it was playing at last year. Of course, I got Texans in this one. Where the Texans are at right now, sitting at with a 6-2 record, kind of where I predicted them to be around this point of the season. Still haven't gotten to the real meat and chunky part of the schedule, but they're performing to expectations. I predicted them to win the AFC South. Right now, they're currently leading the AFC South, but they're not playing particularly good ball right now. But they're playing right around the level I thought they'd be playing at around this time of the season. The Jets. Look, I thought the Jets might be a playoff team before the start of the season. I did not know that it was going to go off the rails as completely as it has, considering the talent that they have and the talent they have acquired. During the trade deadline, bringing in Devontae Adams, getting Hassan Reddick signed to a contract. This team is performing well below expectations, and I think the part that's kind of been disappointing to me, as I watched the Jets play this year, is this. I would say the offense has kind of been what the offense is. I'm not a Nathaniel Hackett kind of fan. I saw what he did in Denver. Wasn't impressed. His play calling and his, how he's scheming up stuff and concepts, and we'll talk about that a little bit later as we get into the rest of the schedule and breakdowns. But I thought the defense will play a lot better. Obviously, not having Hassan Reddick out there, one of the best pass rushers in the league when he is available. Not having him for a majority of the season thus far. This is his first game back, which is his last game. But, I thought the defense would be able to play not necessarily at the level they was playing at last year when they was having to try to carry this team to keep them in games. But I thought the defense would play a lot better. And the defense been kind of getting gashed up. Defense be kind of getting gashed up. Secondary is not playing to the level that they're typically known to play at. Maybe it has something to do with the chemistry issues that this team is having. I didn't have them playing at 2-6 at this point of the season. This Jets team is completely falling off of the map. Probably, if I had to kind of put a label on it, it's probably been the most disappointing team. All things considered, other teams that I thought would be having a better season have struggled, but not to the level of the Jets. The Jets look like a team that's completely disarray. To me, it looks like Aaron Rodgers' last ride. If I'm the Jets, I would highly encourage Rodgers to move on, draft a new quarterback, and go a different direction. And just go a different direction and just be done with it. Start over from scratch. And we know the history with the Jets and quarterbacks. But at this point, what are you getting for Rodgers for what you paid for, what you gave up for him? You're not getting an even return. Granted, he was hurt last year, but he's looked off. He's looked old. Father time catches up to him all. Some of them faster than others, and it looked like it has hit him real hard this season. But with all that being said, I got Texas winning, of course. Thursday night game, short week. No faith to the Jets. I'm sorry, no faith to the Jets. Moving on to the rest of the schedule on Sunday. Yeah, the 3-4 Cowboys going up against the 5-3 Falcons. Let's start with the Falcons, kind of give them their praise. This team is playing around the level I thought they would be playing. I thought Atlanta was a sneakily good team, especially bringing in Kirk Cousins in the off season, being able to take advantage of the weapons, the young weapons. Let's say that the young weapons and a pretty good offensive line that they do have there in Atlanta, and it is kind of been a rough kind of a start, first couple of games of the season, but I think this offense has kind of found their lane. They're clicking. Defensively, I thought this defense was going to be playing at the level that they're playing at. They're not getting gashed up, but it is some stuff they got to work on. But overall, I think Atlanta sitting here at 5-3, sitting in first place in the division of the NFC South. I pretty much predicted it was going to be kind of like a two-team race. Tampa Bay and them right now is kind of that. They got a one-game lead over Tampa Bay, but I think Atlanta, you bring in a competent quarterback. Listen, I'm not a fan of Kirk Cousins winning the big game. I'm just going to be honest with you about that. History has shown me, he's average when it matters. But, all that being said, he's a definite upgrade over the quarterback situation that they had last year. And, Falcons sitting at 5-3 home team. Before I get into the Cowboys, listen, I'm going to give you my pick. I got Falcons in this one. I got Falcons. The thing, the offense is playing very consistent. I think they're going to have opportunities to run the ball on Dallas. Dallas has been defending the run has been an issue for a number of years, not just this season. Granted, we get some guys back. When I'm talking about them, I'm talking about the Cowboys. Get some guys back. Michael Parsons is supposed to be, suiting up. Deron Bland is supposed to be coming off of PUP. So you got some guys coming back, but overall, looking at the Cowboys 3-4. Listen, I didn't have them being 3-4 at this point of the season. But you are what you are at the end of the day. I didn't have, I'm a Cowboys fan, love them to the moon and back. But even I couldn't pick them as my Super Bowl pick. Even in my heart of hearts, after seeing the talent that they have there and how it's kind of put together and coaching and schemes, like them sitting at 3-4. Possibility that they win this weekend. As a Cowboy fans, I hope they do, but I'm not picking them. That only moves them to 4-4, still in third place in the division. I thought this division overall, it was going to be a two-team race, Eagles and Cowboys. I did have the Eagles winning the division, still have a chance to do that. We'll talk about that a little bit later. But, Cowboys sitting at 3-4, very average team, very average team. Not a team you can really, pencil in a W on a weekly basis. A lot of people was like, yeah, they're going to go in there and beat San Francisco with all the injuries. Didn't happen. Team is, lame duck coach. Mike McCarthy should be out of there. Should have got rid of him during the bye week. Might have, gave a little juice to the team. This team seems kind of lifeless at times. Dak is, not playing his best. Run game has been non-existent, dead last in the NFL. But what do you expect? What do you expect with the running back room that they do have there in Dallas? I wasn't, even if you have a running back by committee, at least have some young hogs back there to kind of keep that going. But dead last in the NFL. Cowboys, the record reflects what they are. You are a below average team. Below average team, and it hurts me to my heart to say that on the public airways. What's going on, Spot? It hurts me to say that on the public airways about my team, but you are a below average team. You are a below average team. We'll see if you get it together in the second half of the season. Rough start to the first half of the season. I don't think any Cowboys fan was predicting the 3-4. But your record is what your record is. That's what you are, below average. Moving on to the other games of the week. One of the big games of the week. I don't think a lot of people had circled on their calendar at the start of the season. You have the 5-3 Broncos going on the road playing against the 5-3 Ravens. Broncos, one of the best defenses in the league right now. Bo Nix is coming into his own as a rookie, playing pretty well all together. Sean Payton is doing a very good job kind of coaching them up, putting them in situations that allow him to take advantage of his skill set. And I don't think anybody, I think if you ask anybody before the season, if they had the Broncos being at 5-3, being in the hunt for a possible wild card spot at this point of the season, other than somebody being from that mountain area, smoking that good, I don't think anybody would have had them being 5-3. So I gotta say Broncos definitely exceeded expectations. Considering have a rookie quarterback, and when you look at the playmakers that they have on the offensive side of the ball, like none of these guys kind of scare you. But they do have some quality guys on that side of the ball. Like I said, Bo Nix is doing a fantastic job. Sean Payton's doing a fantastic job, put him in position. And of course, you have one of the top defenses in the league backing them up. This is going to be a very interesting game against Baltimore. Baltimore coming off a loss against the Cleveland Browns, one of those kind of trap games you kind of have on your schedule. You got to be aware of. I think if you look at Baltimore being at 5-3, I gotta say honestly, even though you have a winning record, I think a lot of people would say, hey, this team has not performed to expectations, namely the defense. I don't think anybody had the defense playing this bad coming into the season. I don't think anybody had them kind of dropping off and getting gashed the way they're getting gashed on a week by week basis. But on the flip side of it, the marriage between Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry has been above expectations. I didn't think it was going to click this well this early. Lamar Jackson firmly in the conversation for MVP at this point of the season. Derrick Henry doing Derrick Henry thing, like he's revitalized after being out of Tennessee. But the defense has got to get it together. So even though they're 5-3, in particular, I'm gonna pick Ravens in this one. I do think they have an opportunity to kind of confuse Bo Nix, put him in some dangerous spots. I think the Ravens offense kind of this takes over the Broncos defense, and that's I think that's where the game kind of comes down to for me. But I got Ravens, but overall sitting at 5-3, you got to say you're performing this a little bit below expectations. You're supposed to be competing right now for the best record in the AFC. You're kind of in the conversation, but you're kind of not. You're not even leading the division right now. But moving on, you got the Dolphins against the Bills. Of course, I got Bills in this one. With this game, we'll be closely watching Tua, as he kind of works his way back from the concussion issue that he had early in the season. How Miami's offense look. I'm gonna be honest with you. I got Bills in this one, but it wouldn't shock me if the Dolphins go on the road, which is not, something they like to do up in Buffalo. But it wouldn't shock me. They go up there and kind of surprise Buffalo a little bit. But I think Buffalo's kind of locked in. Josh Allen is playing well. The running game is playing very well. The defense is playing surprisingly well. I got to say, even though the Bills are 6-2, a lot of people would have had them leading the division with a 6-2 record at this point of the season. I got to say, for me, what's going on, Gator? For me, I think they're performing above expectations. When you look at, we thought the offense was going to fall off a cliff. We thought the defense was going to take a dip in level of production with the guys that they had, kind of ship out due to contract issues or whatever. I think Buffalo sitting at 6-2. I think, to me, they're performing above expectations. I did have them, kind of, taking care of business, being a playoff team at 6-2. And they're doing it in a myriad of different ways. And I think with the addition of Amari Cooper right before the trade deadline, kind of juices up the passing game. I'm curious to see are going to be leaning on Josh Allen as heavily as they have in the first half of the season. I think you get a healthy dose of James Cook, get those receivers going. Don't put the burden on Josh Allen to make all the plays. I think Buffalo, as usual, is going to be right there in that conversation for best team in the AFC when it's all said and done. But I'm close. Like I said, I'm closely watching to a second game back. Dolphins currently sitting at 2-5, and of course, I didn't have them being 2-5 at this point of the season. But when you lose your starting quarterback and you have trash behind them, and no disrespect to those guys, but those guys are not to it as far as operating this offense. They still have an outside shot. I'm gonna be honest with you. I think Miami still has an outside shot if Tua can stay healthy. That's kind of like the big thing. If Tua stays healthy, with the way he's able to operate this offense and the weapons that they have, they're going to be able to compete on a week-to-week basis. So be on the lookout for them. But of course, I got Bills in this one. Simply because the Bills are at home. If this was a road game, I might have went for the upset pick for the Dolphins. But Dolphins cold weather, it don't match. Looking at the next couple games on the schedule, you got Panthers and Saints. It's been reported that Bryce Young will start again. I think he's going to have a short leash. I think they brought in the third, um, another quarterback with the the injury to Andy Dalton from the car accident. But Bryce Young will be starting. Um, Nothing much to say about Carolina. I think a lot of us had them being towards the bottom of the league, and that's kind of where they're at. Defense is suspect. At best, you got rid of your best defensive player right before the season. Bryce Young has performed below expectations, and I think the one game they won against the Raiders, you called another team that's performing below expectations. But for the Panthers, I think you're performing exactly where a lot of people had you performing, which is at the bottom of the barrel. I'm just be honest with you. I don't think anybody outside of Carolina Panthers fan had this team winning more than 4 or 5 games this year with the roster that they got. You bring in Deontay Johnson, and hell, you shipped him off without a full season. Yeah, it's a mess in Carolina. They did bring in, it's a rookie head coach. I think he's going to get rid of Bryce Young, draft a quarterback, and they're going to kind of turn the page on this season. But this season has been a wash. When you look at across who they're playing, the Saints, Derek Carr is supposedly close to returning, may return for this week. Saints sitting at 2-6, kind of like the same thing with Miami. Team looks a little bit different when you don't have your starting quarterback that knows how to run this offense. Spencer Rattler play well in spots, but he's not Derek Carr. And as far as this offense is concerned, the defense has had too much of a burden on them. And them sitting at 2-6. Listen, they followed off of a map, man. I thought New Orleans might be on the outside, of that race in the NFC South, and they look like world beaters the first 2 weeks of the season, but losing the 6th straight, I think they kind of break that streak against a team that's going nowhere. Both of these teams, I think Panthers where they ought to be. Saints, you got to look at them performing below expectations, but you got to put the injury in there when you lose your starting quarterback for a number of weeks, starting a rookie. You kind of get what you get. Moving on, you had 3-5 Bengals at home against the Raiders. Raiders, for me, are performing below expectation. I thought this team was going to be right there in the conversation for a wild card spot, sitting there at 2-6. I'm not sure what direction the Raiders are going. I'm not sure what kind of team are they trying to be. Are you going to be a defensive team? Are you going to be a team that throws the ball, team that runs the ball? No kind of identity this season. I thought, they had something going at the end of the season. Coming into this one is just not matriculated into wins. For me, Raiders are performing well below expectations. I do have Bengals winning this one. I wasn't that high on the Bengals. They're sitting right now at 3-5 with the potential to go 4-5. I wasn't that high on the Bengals because the defense is not that good. Offense can only, you can only outscore people like that. You can't have shootouts every week. It doesn't work like that in the NFL. But I think, Cincinnati, out of the teams that are currently below 500 in the AFC, probably the scariest team if they kind of get it going and get hot and get into the playoffs because they have the offense to, compete with anybody. And, I want to see Joe Burrow and the Patrick Mahomes playoff matchup. Those big game moments. But I got Cincinnati. I want to say 3-5. I had this team around about 500, so I guess slightly below expectations. But I think they're going to get it together. Make a run for the playoffs. Push for a wild card spot. It's been one of those years, man. A lot of teams have started slow. A lot of teams have kind of started slow. Speaking of starting slow, you had the Cleveland Browns at home playing a Chargers team who I think, to me is playing above expectations when you consider Jim Harbaugh come in fresh off of winning the national championship with Michigan. Comes in, gets rid of the number 1, gets rid of the number 2, gets rid of the tight end, and gets rid of the starting running back in free agency. And has Justin Herbert and some guys. They do have some nice pieces there, but I didn't think this team was going to be really competing at the level they are. But they, still a bit inconsistent defense. I think for this team to really push for the playoffs, it has to play a little bit better, but it hasn't been bad. But Chargers are kind of like the Seahawks to me. For this season, kind of like, you're up and down. You never know what to expect. Sometimes they look good, sometimes they look not horrible, but don't look like they're playing to their level of expectation. I think Justin Herbert is going to like um, what Harbaugh's got planned for him in the future. We just got to get him some weapons. Browns, Deshaun Watson out. Jameis Winston comes in, picks up a big win. 2-6 Browns. I didn't have them playing this bad. I thought Deshaun Watson was going to play a lot better with another season up under his belt. It did not happen, and the offense was handicapped not only with that, but Nick Chubb being out for the start of the season. Cleveland, no chance of the playoffs. Unless a miracle happens, I'm gonna be honest with you. No chance of the play. I do think they play much better down the stretch with a competent quarterback. I think James is going to make himself some money when it's all said and done. But the Deshaun Watson experiment for me is over in Cleveland. Find a way to kind of go ahead, pay him out or whatever you got to do. He ain't got it no more. When you consider this team was a playoff team last year, a lot of people, including myself, picked this team to be, in the conversation for possible AFC North, title hunt, division title. It just not matriculated, and Deshaun Watson he looked worse this year than he did last year. I'm gonna be honest. He was making Daniel Jones look like Joe Burrow this year. That's how bad Deshaun Watson was playing. That bad. Going on, Triggs. Let's move on. The 6-2 Commanders. Of course, I think the Commanders have performed above expectations, and they've been fun to watch. Jaden Daniels, clearly the front runner for Rookie of the Year. I didn't think Washington was going to be able to kind of take advantage of his talents the way that they have this early in the season. I thought it would take him a while to kind of figure out what he does well. Credit the offense coordinator Kingsbury for putting together game plan week after week after week and taking advantage of this young man's gifts. And Washington has been playing fantastic football. Defense has been playing well. Credit to Dan Quinn and his staff raising that level of play on that side. Right now, Commanders sitting right there in first place. I put them on my tier 1 teams. It's based off from what I've been seeing, level of play, defense, offense. Commanders clearly performing well above expectations. I don't think anybody had them lead the division at this time at the beginning of the season. So clearly performing the expectations, and they're on the road to play the Giants. I got Commanders in this one. Giants, still Daniel Jones, and I tried to defend this dude a couple years ago. Can't do it anymore. Coaching staff is kind of like on a week-to-week basis in regards to Daniel Jones. I think Dayball, the head coach, is going to be out of there. Team is look like I think they're beating expectations. This is a below average team, not a team with a lot of talent. When you lose your best offensive player in free agency and you don't replace them with I wouldn't even say equal, but similar type talent, you get what you get. You did bring in Brian Burns, but it hasn't translated to a dominant defense. And the Giants, Daniel Jones has regressed. I've seen enough, man. He had one for me. He had one decent year. He ended up getting a contract out of it for 6 years. I've seen enough. Like I said, head coach is probably gone. GM might be gone. If I'm the Giants, I'm moving on from Daniel Jones. I can find better. I can find better. In regards to that. Moving on to some scrub games. Titans, Patriots, both teams. Patriots sitting at 2-6. Kind of where you expected it to be. Same thing with the Titans sitting at 1-6. I think the Patriots have a much brighter future. I will say that than Tennessee right now. Tennessee doesn't know what they want to do. What are you going to do with Will Levis? Is he your quarterback of the future? Right now, Mason Rudolph is running the show. He's doing a much better job, but it ain't saying a whole lot. It ain't like he's playing super fantastic. When you look across the other side, Drake May finally got some starts in this season. Jacoby Brissett, I think, depending on how May comes out of concussion protocol. But I think the issue with the Patriots is lack of talent. You can't, we just win on heart and grit in this league. You got to have some talent. You got to have some guys making some plays. I think this team, as far as procuring talent, did get rid of one of the best pass rushers on the team. Josh Uche ended up trading him. But I like the direction that the Patriots are going. You just got to get pieces in there, man. got to get pieces in there. Rookie head coach Drake May didn't look bad in the limited starts that he did have, limited playing time he did have before he got hurt. I, I would say the Patriots, I had them having a losing record, but I think they're headed in the right direction. I can't say the same thing for the Titans. Let me keep it moving. Eagles, Jags. Yeah, Eagles at 5-2, kind of where I expected them to be. Too much talent on this team to be playing losing football. I do feel encouraged. If you're an Eagles player, I do think you need to feel encouraged that this team has kind of found a formula of sustainable winning football over the last couple of weeks, and that's leaning on Saquon Barkley, letting the run game set up the pass game instead of the other way around. Defense, some of those young guys in the secondary that they drafted, are starting to play well. You get your reps in, you start to play well. Darius Slay, probably out of there. I'll be honest with you, but this Eagles team sitting right there, 5-2, a game back from Washington. This team is starting to come along, and like I said, the offense is the last couple of weeks has looked good. So I think they met expectations. And when we look across the field at their opponent on Sunday, you have the Jacksonville Jaguars. I saw Gator Girl here, so I just want to make are you satisfied with what you've seen from Trevor Lawrence this year? I told you this team is not Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, up and down. And all for me. And this is for me. It all kind of starts with Trevor Lawrence. Trevor Lawrence has had a couple good games this year, but for the most part, has not played to the level of expectations or the level of the contract that he signed in the offseason as a franchise quarterback. Do I think the young man is gifted? Yes, I do think he's gifted. Has it been productive this year for him at a quarterback position? No. I don't think you can put Trevor Lawrence in the top 10 of anything in regards to quarterback play this year. I don't think you can have that conversation. I didn't have the Jaguars sitting at 2-6. I thought they'd be like more of a 500 team around this point. So slightly below expectations, but it kind of is what it is there. I'm not sure what ways you can kind of correct what they got going on there when you got the quarterback locked up with that much money. I mean, he's got some weapons, but he hasn't been, to me, hasn't been playing to the best of his ability. Maybe that has something to do with the offensive line. I don't know. But Jaguars on the road, I don't think the Eagles are overlooking them. I think they're going to have success continuing their form of Saquon, setting up the pass game. And I got Eagles in that one. Probably the game of the week and one of the biggest games of the season thus far. 6-1 Lions on the road against the 6-2 Green Bay Packers. Lions for me have performed to expectation. This was my Super Bowl pick. I had them being the best team in the NFC. I had them having the best record in the NFC. And it's because, not because just the offense, the defense has come along and started playing well. I think they might miss Aiden Hutchinson down the stretch, but with the offense that they have, the way they're able to produce points in very different ways, they're able to attack you on so many levels. It's ridiculous. This is a team that can go out there and put up 35 in their sleep. And doing it a lot of different ways. Jared Goff is playing at an MVP level, so I'm not surprised with what I'm seeing by the Detroit Lions this season. And conversely, I'm not surprised by what I'm seeing by the Green Bay Packers. The Green Bay Packers, have performed to expectation. I thought they were going to be in the conversation. Thought they were going to be in the hunt. Jordan Love has been a little turnover prone this season, but overall, Green Bay is a very good team, very well constructed team, very well coached team on both sides of the ball. This is going to be a dogfight. I'm gonna put this on record. You might see this matchup 3 times this season. Now, they in division, they play twice. I think you might see Packers and Lions somewhere down the line in the playoff. I think both of these teams are that good. I think they're playing that well. Green Bay does it a little bit different than Detroit, but this is it's probably one of like the best matchup. Outside of maybe Kansas City and Baltimore to start the season, probably the best matchup of the season. That's why, and like I said, both teams are performing to expectations for me. I wouldn't be surprised if you see these guys play 3 times. You heard it here first. I'm predicting Lions and Packers will play 3 times this season. Mark it down, write it. I think both teams are playing that well. And I think they have the stuff to continue playing that well throughout. Here you go, hate it. Come on, Gator. It's not hate. What does 2-6 say? If I listen, if I could be breaking down my own team and say they're below average, why can't I say a 2-6 team is below average? I mean, come on. Moving on, the last couple games. Yeah, the Seahawks at home against the Rams. Seahawks have been a very, I mean, 4-4 is average, and this is kind of where I kind of saw Seattle. It's hard to kind of put a pin on, what kind of team this is. Are you going to be a great offense week in and week out? It hasn't been like that. The defense, I know, I knew it was going to need some time to kind of get it together and get some more pieces in. Still not there. Rams, I think a lot of that has with their 3-4 record has a lot to do with injuries. For that reason, I'm picking the Rams on the road. I just feel more confident in Matthew Stafford than Geno Smith. Return to Cooper Kupp. Puka Nacua looked good coming back off an injury. I think the Rams defense is a lot better than Seattle. And the Rams in this division is pretty much kind of still up for grabs. Pretty much still up for grabs. You have 3 teams at 4-4, 1 team at 3-4. So these divisional games count, but I just can't trust Seattle, man. I just can't. They'll go out there and beat a good Atlanta team and come back and they'll drop a game against the Giants. Like they're kind of like this year's version of the Jacksonville Jaguars. I'm just saying. Shot fired. Moving on, you have the Colts going on the road to play the Vikings. Vikings coming off a very two tough losses. At home, have had a little extra time to get it together. Sam Darnold has played extremely well this year. I think the Vikings defense kind of gets after causes some issues for the Colts. Now, if the Colts were bringing out Anthony Richardson for this one, I think it'd be a dominant performance by the Vikings defense. But Joe Flacco has experience right now. He's the starting quarterback for the foreseeable future. If I'm in Indianapolis, I'm looking at the landscape. We're sitting at 4-4. A lot of teams, a lot of people had us being round average. And when you look at the rest of the AFC, I mean, you have an opportunity to really establish yourself as a front runner for a wild card position. So don't rule that out. If the Colts, I think Flacco, unless he just falls off a cliff, this team just starts losing 2 or 3 straight. Anthony Richardson, your season is done. And this why are we discussing Anthony Richardson? He was a polarizing pick for a lot of people. For them to draft him number 4 overall. Very physically gifted, but didn't throw the ball all that much while he was at Florida. And you kind of seen that translate to the NFL. Accuracy has been, horrendous. 45% completion rate. That's not going to get it done, man. Not going to get it done. I think Indianapolis is in a tough spot because I think if the Colts were, let's say, 2-6, maybe they still roll with Anthony Richardson for the rest of the year, see what you really have at that position. But you're sitting here at 4-4. I think you owe it to your team to put the best quarterback out there, the best guy for your team to lead. You still have like I said, you're one of the leaders in the doghouse when it comes for playoff position as far as wild cards. So I think you got to roll like that. And closing out, have the 7-0 Chiefs, only undefeated team still in the league right now, playing against the 4-4 Buccaneers. This is going to be another good one. I think it's going to be a much better game than a lot of people expect. Chiefs offense hasn't played particularly well this year. The defense has played lights out. I know people have Patrick Mahomes in the MVP conversation, and you got to attribute if you have Patrick Mahomes in the MVP conversation. But come on, Gator, come on. You don't tap your head, but like I need a breather. I've never seen a quarterback do that. Never. Maybe you say I got the wind knocked out of me. I would have rather him said that. I got the wind knocked out of me on that hit. I needed a breather to kind of get myself some oxygen, maybe. But for you to be tapping your head like you some goddamn position player, like a wide receiver, a slot corner, come on. Oh no. But back to the Chiefs. clearly a lot of people had them being, best team in the NFL. Bricker kind of proves that. But anybody that has Patrick Mahomes in MVP conversation based on his level play, now just his level play. Remember, MVP is not a team award, but I think people are putting a lot of emphasis on the team being 7-0 and saying, Patrick Mahomes is playing at an MVP level. Dude has had a turnover in every game, man. He has more interceptions than touchdowns, and that's tough to say. That is very tough to say, especially at this point of the season for Patrick Mahomes' stats to be looking like that. Those ain't MVP stats. I'm just saying. Team is playing great. Defense is playing along. Offense makes timely plays, but I don't know. MVP, nah. I can't really put Patrick Mahomes in that conversation. But with all that being said, very tough game at home against a Buccaneers team that can put some points up on the board. I know they're missing the top 2 wide receivers, but Baker Mayfield is playing once again at a Pro Bowl level. You can have a little bit of success against this Chiefs team if you play smart. Chiefs defense make you pay for turnovers. If Tampa Bay kind of plays a turnover-free game, maybe you have a chance because Kansas City's offense hasn't been lighting it up. But with all that being said, I got Chiefs. I got Chiefs in this one at home. Continue the streak. I think Tampa Bay is going to miss. I think if Tampa Bay was fully fully healthy, I might pick them. I'm gonna be honest with you. I might have picked them, but without your top 2 wide receivers against this defense, it ain't happening, Captain. It ain't happening. All right. Hey, come speak. What's the? Oh, you a Chiefs fan? Listen, you can't make a case for Patrick Mahomes being MVP. MVP is not a team award. It's not a team award. Your team's success plays a factor in it, but you can't tell me you looked at Patrick Mahomes and said, "Yo, that's the MVP of the league." The way he's playing, he's got more interceptions than touchdowns. Speak. Even you can't justify that. Yeah, he plays. He makes the plays when he got to make the plays, and I'm not knocking Patrick Mahomes. To me, is the best quarterback in the NFL, talent wise, accomplishments, all of that. But he ain't playing like that this year. More interceptions than touchdowns. You can't make it up. You can't make it up. You got if you're gonna be critical of if another quarterback was putting up those kind of stats and winning, would you be calling them the MVP? I think not. I'm just saying, be fair about it. Kansas City's, got the best record. I think Detroit's the best team, but Kansas City's got the best record. Hopefully we get that matchup. Take that back. Hopefully I get my matchup so I can be right again and, rubbing in people like Gator Girl's face that I was right once again. But this is neither here nor there. But a lot of these teams, you got to say they're performing slightly below expectation. It's been a weird year, man. I agree with you, Speak. He's a big play guy. I agree with you. He's a big play guy. But is that MVP? Can you look at and that's how you kind of have to look at it. It's not a team award. Your team success plays a role in it, but you can't tell me Patrick Mahomes has played better this year than Jared Goff. You can't tell me he's played better than Lamar Jackson. You can't. You can't make that case. More interceptions than you have turned the ball over more than you put the ball into the end zone. You can't dispute that. Kansas City's defense is carrying the way. And I think, for a lot of people, we're kind of waiting for Kansas City's offense to kind of break out. It hasn't happened yet. This defense has been playing lights out football from the gate. From the gate. I'm just saying. But let me get my behind up out of here. It's been a long show. Like I said, no show tomorrow. Happy Halloween to all those that trick or treat and participate in those devilish games. May or may not be doing a KBK on Friday. Got to give me some material. Since you're here, Speed, to kind of leave you out with this, thoughts and opinion, real quick. Thoughts and opinion on the league finding the 76ers 100K in regards to Joel Embiid and his quote unquote injury. I'm just saying. You know, we'll pick that up another day. We'll pick that up another day. But anyway, let me get my behind up out of here, man. It's always a pleasure. Y'all have a good, if you don't see me again, have a good rest of your week, man. Enjoy yourself, and we'll pick it back up next time we come back live. What's going on? Keep you made it off the plantation just to drop in. I always appreciate it. With that being said, let me go ahead and get my behind up out of here. As always, the phrase over here: sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. Well, hold on, let me stop this. Well, I'm thinking of adding a show with the NBA season kind of coming in. Maybe doing one show a week. Maybe something on Sunday. Kind of put just nothing but NBA on a. I have to do that shit on a Saturday. Can't do it on a Sunday. Maybe doing like an NBA show on a Saturday, some quick, quick 30, 40 minute show to kind of recap some of the week's news and what we kind of seeing. Lakers have been looking good, Gator girl. Lakers have been looking good. But anyway, let me get my hat up out of here. End you off with the phrase: sometimes you win, sometimes you lose, but every time you learn. And I'm out.